Fences around D.C. landmarks and extra attention at Mar-a-Lago.
That's an example of pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office.
All in anticipation of possible protests. Florida legislators receiving pushback.
You cannot deny that the people who support him and the people that he has used to brand himself up until this point represent hate.
On plans to limit drag shows in the state. And pressure for the Panthers.
Ka-ching! He did it again!
As they try to hold on to the last wildcard spot in the playoffs. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Amanda Gray.
I am Paloma Pimentel. Today is Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023.
Live from the FIU Lee Kaplan School of Journalism and Media, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Support for Trump continues in light of his pending arrest as dozens gather outside his Mar-a-Lago home. Former President Trump told his followers on Truth Social he expected to be arrested yesterday.
It would have made him the first former president in U.S. history to be indicted, but that hasn't happened yet. Reporter Sofia Zuniga has more from Washington, D.C.
Authorities have set up fencing here at the Capitol, at the Supreme Court, and in Lower Manhattan, where the grand jury meets. These are simply precautions ahead of potential protests from Trump supporters. Trump is being accused of falsifying business records to cover a payment totaling up to $130,000 given to porn star Stormy Daniels, but Trump denies any wrongdoing. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said the case is politically motivated, while Florida Governor Ron DeSantis criticized Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg.
If you have a prosecutor who is ignoring crimes happening every single day in his jurisdiction, and he chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office.
While Republicans have largely come to his defense, Democrats, including New York Congressman Richie Torres and former chairman of the Ohio Democratic Party, David Pepper, have said there are more serious crimes that Trump should also be held accountable for. Trump is currently involved in 5 investigations, including a Georgia criminal inquiry over the 2020 election, a criminal investigation into his classified documents, and his alleged role in the January 6, 2021 Capitol insurrection. Reporting for the South Florida Media Network, I'm Sofia Zuniga from Washington, D.C.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is continuing his crackdown on drag performance, but some FIU students are pushing back. The network's Ariana Otero Aviles has more on the story.
Miami's drag queens and drag shows are struggling as Governor Ron DeSantis works to target drag shows and those who should be allowed to attend. Recently, DeSantis has targeted the Orlando Philharmonic, looking to remove their liquor license after they hosted an all-ages drag event on December 28th. This viral video of a Dallas, Texas drag show held during Pride Month aimed at kids caught the attention of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. The governor now wants to restrict minors from attending drag shows in Florida. Mia Rodriguez is a member of the Pride Student Union at FIU and spoke against DeSantis cracking down on drag shows.
Seeing all these great things happen for Miami, happen for drag, and then I see legislation. I see my political science major and my safe space in Miami nightlife, which is very rare for gay people, come together in a horrible, horrible intersection. An intersection that represents hate, a platform that Ron DeSantis has built, that it doesn't matter if you're left, center, or right, you cannot deny that the people who support him and the people that he has used to brand himself up until this point represent hate.
Governor DeSantis is working to target more of the LGBTQ+ community on top of drag shows, passing such legislation as the Don't Say Gay bill. In a recent poll conducted here in Florida by the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, 70% of interviewees strongly agreed the intent of the Don't Say Gay bill will be emotionally damaging to LGBTQ children and parents. Likewise, 1 in 5 Floridians considers the protection of LGBTQ equality laws a top priority issue in Florida. Lawmakers in both Florida and Texas have announced their intent to introduce legislation that would ban minors from attending drag events.
DeSantis' reasoning behind restricting younger viewers from attending drag shows is that he believes kids should be kids and allowed to grow up without having political agendas forced on them.
One such lawmaker, Florida Republican Anthony Sabatini, tweeted his intent to introduce a bill that works to terminate parental rights and charge parents with a felony if they bring their children to drag shows.
We reached out to Republican representatives in Tallahassee for comment, but received no answer. This is Anthony Sabatini's statement posted on his own social media.
these events because it's just not right. Children are not of the age in which they should be witnessing any sort of sexually promiscuous type of dancing, nor should they see any sort of adult-rated or sexual videos.
As the controversy continues, Miami's drag queens and drag shows are struggling to survive under the increased scrutiny from the government. With South Florida Media Network, my name is Ariana Otero.
Closer to home, DeSantis and his administration are seeking to revoke the alcohol license for the Hyatt Regency Miami after one of its facilities hosted a Christmas-themed drag show where children were present.
After the pandemic caused a rise in dog adoptions, animal shelters were rarely at full capacity until now. Reporter Sabrina Beggerstein from our DC bureau takes a look at why dogs are being surrendered back to the pound.
I'm standing in front of the Animal Welfare League of Arlington, Virginia, an animal shelter that has seen a surge of dogs being returned by owners. The #1 cause is the rise of inflation. Here's how one shelter is tackling these soaring pet prices and giving back to those with furry friends.
What we're seeing and what a lot of shelters are seeing is more of the financial impact that the last couple of really crazy years has put on the country as a whole.
Pet stores have seen a climb on pet food prices. According to Nelson IQ data, the prices of pet food rose to 30 cents in 2022 and is expected to increase in 2023, but at a lower rate. Chelsea Jones highlights solutions the shelter is providing to help with these costly products.
We have a free pet pantry. Anyone that needs pet food for their pet can come in and get it. There's no form, there's no requirements, you just come in and get it. We have low-cost vaccine clinics. We have emergency grants for, if your pet has an emergency illness. We do low-cost spay and neuters. So we can help. If it's a financial thing that, you can't keep your pet because of medical or something like that, we're going to do what we can to try to help.
Not only have dogs been impacted by this issue, but the animal shelter staff as well. The adoption process is simple, and staff do their best to find the finest match between a dog and a person.
You're doing this job where you care so deeply every single day, and you just see more and more dogs, but then they're not getting adopted, and they're getting stressed out, and it's hard.
Animal shelters across the country are relying on donations and volunteering. Those in South Florida who are interested in helping their local shelters can visit miamidade.gov. I'm Sabrina Beggerstein in Washington, D.C. for the South Florida Media Network.
This spring break looks to be a big travel season for the airline industry, according to a new report with many people making up for canceled travel at the height of the pandemic. Here is Angela Rivas from our DC bureau with more details.
According to Airlines for America, major airlines such as Delta and Southwest are expecting to carry 2.6 million flyers per day during March and April. Experts say this is going to be a test for the airline industry to return back pre-pandemic capacity levels and high travel demand. Chief flight expert at Going, Scott Keys, explained how these expected numbers are likely to be seen.
Expect that those predictions to come true, and the reason why is that for each of the 2 months so far in 2023, you have seen travel numbers exceed the same month in 2019.
Warm states such as Arizona and Florida will see their popular spring break destinations packed with multi-generational families, as many around the nation are getting together after missed travel during the peak of the pandemic. According to AAA Spring Travel Survey, in a report done by Travel Hopper, domestic air travel was up 20% from 2022 and 5% of pre-pandemic prices, averaging at $264 for a round trip during March and April. Keys explained how this is the start to a normalization of travel, but there are ways families can find cheaper flights.
Different academic calendars, you're going to see a different spring break week and substantially cheaper fares.
I'm Sabrina Beggerstein in Washington, D.C. for the South Florida Media Network.
The Panthers are in a fight for their playoff lives and got off to an icy start.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
2 on fire. Lifts this ball down the left field line as Trey Turner does it again.
A Florida native's dream came true, and now he's the voice of the World Baseball Classic. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
See us dream. See us remember. See us protest.
You matter. Your feelings matter. Your identity matters. Everything about who you are matters.
See us fight back. See us rebuild. See us shatter stereotypes. See us inspire. See us united. See us now.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Team USA coming up a little short at the final game of the World Baseball Classic last night here in Miami. With Japan up 3-2, Los Angeles pitcher Shohei Ohtani for Japan faced LA Angels slugger Mike Trout for the U.S. and got the strikeout to seal the victory. For Japan, it's the third championship in the last 5 World Baseball Classics. During the World Baseball Classic, Miami was a stage to showcase the best players from across the globe.
But as the network's Amanda Milian reports, the talent in the announcer's booth was 100% homegrown.
The last thing Frank Fernandez thought when he attended the USA versus Puerto Rico World Baseball Classic game in 2009 here in Miami was that he would be the public address announcer for this same series 14 years later. The Chicago native moved to Miami at a young age and grew up playing baseball at Tamiami Park. Besides the Cubs, who were miles away, he only had the Miami Hurricane baseball team to look up to. When the Marlins came to town in 1993, this is when it all changed for Frank. Fast forward 28 years, and Frank was given the opportunity to be the backup public address announcer for the Miami Marlins. This allowed him a springboard to announce the Hispanic Heritage Games, which were a silent audition for his role in the World Baseball Classic.
So I received a phone call on a random Tuesday afternoon, and it was a FaceTime, which was already odd because I never get called by the Marlins on a random Tuesday in the offseason, and 2, let alone as a FaceTime. And they kind of let me know. It took about 3 weeks for it to kick in that I was actually doing it. So I can't even tell you how my emotions were because I didn't believe it was real. I thought it was either a dream or B, a prank. And it took for somebody that saw me at the ballpark that told me, hey, congratulations, I heard. And I told him, heard what? And he goes, I heard that you were announcing the WBC. And then that was the moment that everything just became real for me.
From the group stage games to the quarter and semifinals, as well as the championship game, Frank's voice could be heard through all of Lone Depot Park. Not only was he creating memories for the fans of all the colliding nations, but he was living out his childhood dreams behind that microphone for the 2 weeks of the World Baseball Classic.
The coolest thing for me, I think, is the fact that I think people across the world get to hear my voice. So even while the lineups are being introduced and as we go down to the public address announcer with the lineups, just me getting those 4 minutes of the entire world hearing my voice, I think is the coolest thing about the entire thing.
As the World Baseball Classic comes to a close here at Lone Depot Park, fans and people of all nations will go home with memories of a lifetime. This includes the voice of the World Baseball Classic, a proud Cuban American raised in the heart of Miami. This is Amanda Milian, South Florida Media Network.
The Florida Panthers had their 7-game point streak end in a nerve-wracking loss against the Philadelphia Flyers. While they were able to maintain the last spot of the playoffs with 79 points, the Panthers are still fighting against 3 other teams for the final slot in the wild card. This loss against the Flyers puts the Cats 3 points back and are in the wild card by a single point above the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have 78 points. The final score of the game was Panthers 3, Flyers 6. The Panthers will come home to play the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow at 7 p.m.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I am Paloma Pimentel.
I'm Amanda Gray. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.